I always wear sunglasses for the Jeff Show. It's super important.
Well, these would be sunglasses if it were a lot brighter in here.
Oh, really? Those turn into sunglasses.
The transitions, right? So I just need a big bright light shining right in my eyes, and then I'd have cool sunglasses on too.
Okay. So there's no what's up with these glasses? So there's no real format here apart from we're just gonna like talk about the movie. So I guess let me intro this real quick.
Sure.
Welcome. Hold on, wait. I can't start the show without my sunglasses on. Okay, and maybe I should share that stream too because I'm broadcasting from Little Talk of Horrors and not my personal page. So that might be a good idea. Shit, what did I do? All right. Welcome to the Jeff Show. My name is Jeff, and I have a very special guest on with me tonight. We have some new talking technology that allows us to interact with other people, and you won't just hear my loud, dominating voice. You'll get the calm purrs, the calm, subtle purrs of my friend and filmmaker and film festival director Stephen Stull, and we have a very specific topic that we are going to be talking about tonight. We are going to be talking about. Oh, I'm going to put it live right now. Right now, we're going to be talking about a movie that I had seen. So we're talking about a movie called The Divide tonight. And I remember, I think it's IO9, the blog IO9. They did a whole post about this movie. They shared the trailer and they did one of those trailer write-up situation things. And I just remember I watched that trailer and I'm going, oh my God, this movie, it looks so insane. The trailer is so slick. And I'm just like, I was thirsty as heck for this movie. And it's directed by a guy named Xavier Gens, who is one of those new French New Extreme. Yeah. Steve, why don't you tell us some of his other work if you're familiar with it?
So I looked him up, and the only other title of his that I noticed, because I didn't know anything about the guy, I didn't know anything about the movie before I went in. I went in on your recommendation, and after I saw the movie, I looked up his IMDb, and he also directed Frontiers, which is a famous entry into the French New Extreme. So I haven't seen Frontiers, sadly. I'm gonna have to go look that up now. But I did see, Inside, and I saw High Tension, and I saw Martyrs. So knowing that he comes from that camp of filmmakers made this movie, it just fit in perfectly with all that. I'm kind of glad I didn't know going into it.
He also did, there's a great Spanish monster novel called Cold Skin, if you've heard of it. And, you must read it. It's really great, but it was turned into a Shudder exclusive, made for Shudder film adaptation. And Xavier directed that as well. So he's done a bunch of cool stuff. But yeah, he made this movie in Canada, I believe, and the movie takes place in New York City, and it opens up so who's in the movie though? There's a lot of people in this movie, like tons of cats are in this movie.
Yeah. We got Michael Biehn. We got Milo Ventimiglia. We got that guy. Courtney B. Vance.
Yep. He's in it.
Then Lauren German.
Yeah, Lauren German. She's in Hostel 2 and some other things.
Yeah, I didn't recognize the names on the other folks. But
so there's one guy, and I don't remember his name, but he's in He's in Errors of the Human Body.
That's a great name.
That's a good movie. You should check that out. Yeah. Errors of the Human Body is that act. You know what? I'm just gonna look it up on the IMDb. That's the
guy who played Bobby.
Is the guy who's wearing the dress and hooks up with Rosario?
Roseanne Arquette. Yeah. I forgot about Roseanne Arquette.
There too. So so it's an ensemble piece. There's a lot going on, and I would say, and that's the important thing to remember about this movie overall. That what I personally want to talk about at great length with you, and want to hear your take on things, is that this is not a movie about this movie is not driven by plot in any way, shape, or form. It's totally driven by character. Here's the plot. This is all you need to know. The movie, spoilers. The movie opens. By the way, if you want, the movie is streaming for free, legally for free on Tubi TV. So you're still supporting this movie if you go watch it on Tubi TV. Highly suggest you do it. It doesn't cost you a dime. This is the plot. The movie opens, spoilers, with nuclear warheads crashing into buildings in New York City, and you have a bunch of a whole mess of people running down these stairs in this high-rise building, and a few of them see the building super closing a big vaulted door, trying to the basement, and they all manage to squeeze in through the door, and then it's just about them sitting down in this basement surviving, and they all give in to darkness. And yeah, Steve, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's, like, you were dead right. You said this movie is not a plot-driven movie. This is a very character-driven movie. There is, I guess maybe a third of the way into it, a kind of a sprinkling of a plot, what might seem like a plot development or something, but it gets pretty quickly shut back down. And mostly this is, it's a bottle episode, right? It's this group of people trapped together for an extended period of time, trying to live with each other and succeeding to greater and lesser extents in that endeavor. Yeah, they couldn't have known. Do you have offhand the year that this movie came out?
This movie came out in 2011.
Okay.
It almost didn't get made. As a matter of fact, one of the PAs had a relative that ended up being a investor. The effects are pretty great. You know what's really great about this movie is that it just sort of like it takes place in one location, but they spend you could tell that they really pulled out all the stops for the beginning of the movie and the end of the movie to really make you feel like this thing happened in the outside world. It feels very real.
Yeah. It's definitely got that I don't know, what are we calling it these days? That like grit to it, where this is not polished, right? This isn't Hollywoodified or anything like that. This isn't, I don't know. It gets unpleasant to look at. It makes you feel kind of gross and trapped yourself while you're watching it. I mean, and which I think are perfect choices for the way the story goes, for the way this movie goes. The kind of claustrophobic and grimy kind of feel that it evokes is a perfect complement to what I'm certain it's perfectly calculated by the director. This is exactly what he wanted me to feel.
Yeah, man. It just, it's like what I like that you called it a bottle episode, because it's just a bunch of people in an enclosed space, and it's like it's sort of what's the word I'm looking for? It's
almost like Sartre or something, right?
Well, no, I was going to say it's like something like an experiment for human behavior. Like we're watching these people represent society breaking down on a micro scale. We're watching society break down in the face of disaster. And the plot element that you mentioned, and here's the thing that I love about what little plot there is. This movie does not give you gives you no quarter. No quarter. You don't know jack shit. And it's beneficial to watch it with the subtitles, because you can pick out little bits of stuff, especially with the what happens eventually. Again, spoilers. We're assuming you've seen this movie. If you've not seen this movie, go watch it on Tubi TV. But basically, a team, some sort of military rescue team, comes in to the space and only takes the little girl.
Right. The child. Yeah.
Right. And then they have a bunch of children inside. And it's funny. My wife walked in when I was watching that scene, confused. And she said that the needle that they injected the girl with was something that's called, this is a Hebrew to English translation. She says it's called banana. And what it means is when there is nuclear fallout, there's an injection. When there's a nuclear situation, there's an injection. I don't know if it's iodine or it's something that basically offsets the effects of radiation. And so what was
Okay.
happening, or what I think happened, and these are the movies that I love the most. I love a movie, not just a character driven movie, but a movie that gives you, it's like, here's this, here's this, here's this. Let your mind write the story. What is happening?
Yeah.
You know, Mandy does that too, much to
Yeah. Yeah.
people's, and you know, this film is very polarizing, like Mandy. Either people love
Yeah.
this film or people hate this film.
I
You know,
noticed that on
Mandy did the
the
same thing.
comment thread where you brought it up, where you were suggesting it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, or where you mentioned watching it, and yeah, there were some people on the thread who were. It was everybody was on one side or the other.
It's a very, yeah, it's just a very polarizing film, and I personally think it's great because I personally think the movie is brilliant. When you know, I'll be honest. The first time I watched it, I was let down based on what I had seen in the trailer. The
Oh,
trailer
okay.
really sort of like, you know, gives you all the goodies, and
Hmm.
so you're kind of left like when it starts to, I wouldn't say it lags, but it starts to like it really starts to slow down in the middle and becomes super character oriented. I mean, this
Yeah,
film, what's driving the film are character arcs. You're watching these people slowly descend, and there's one character arc in particular that I personally found like absolutely fascinating, like truly fascinating. The first thing I want to say, well, first, what are your observations? Go ahead, tell me what are some of your observations about what's happening in this story.
yeah. I think I agree with what you're saying about uh the kind of feel of the movie getting a little bit slow around the middle of it. Um, but my first thought is that it's got to be deliberate, right? Because the point is that we're looking at a bunch of people who are trapped together in a basement for weeks and weeks or months.
Well, the
Who
time
really
period is
knows?
weird. It's a
Right,
weird
right.
time. You're not really sure how much time is passing. They make it seem like a lot of time has passed, but you know, when I was watching it this time around,
Yeah.
I it
I've seen it once.
right, you've seen it once. I've seen it about 4 or 5 times over
Oh
the
wow.
years. Like I said, the first time I saw it, I was let down by like how it all plays out.
Hmm.
But the thing was, I kept coming back to it because the opening scene to me is so, it's so terrifying. It reminded me a lot of Threads. If anybody's ever seen Threads, it has a lot similar. There's a lot in common in terms of like just the brutality of and desolation of the, you know, threat of the apocalypse is so demoralizing.
Yeah, yeah.
It destroys you, you know. So I kept coming back for that scene. This last time I watched it was the time that was I finally reveled in its brilliance, like reveled in, because I finally understood. I wasn't watching it, and this was my problem. And I think this is where the polarizing factor comes in. I think it comes in for a lot of movies, Stephen. People watch a movie looking for plot and they get character and they get disappointed, or they watch a movie for character and they get only plot and they get disappointed. So
Yeah.
you got to know what you're watching in order to truly appreciate it. And I was looking for the wrong thing. So this time around, I'm watching the character arcs and I'm going, oh, now, wow. Oh, wow. You know, it like made more sense to me.
You know, I agree with what you're saying completely. I have almost kind of completely quit watching trailers because there have been so many movies that are just mispackaged by the trailers. Like, I have friends, you know, who are like hate the movie Drive, and I'm pretty sure that they wouldn't feel the way they feel about it if they hadn't seen the trailers beforehand, right? And so I'm glad I didn't see the trailer on this one. I don't know what kind of trailer you would put together for something that's so very clearly based in, you know, people interacting with each other, right?
Dude, the
Like,
trailer is beyond awesome. It's like one of the
yeah.
best trailers I've ever seen. Yeah, it's
Oh, really? Okay.
so, dude, it's so good. It was just one of those movies where I was thirsty as fuck for that movie. I just was
Yeah, yeah. Well,
salivating for this film.
so do you think, like, having seen it a few, well, actually, I wanted to ask you real fast. Do you think that the movie might have hit you particularly hard this time around because of the pandemic, right? Because that was the first thing. Like, that movie's made in 2011. They couldn't have known what was going to happen, obviously, but I felt like it was really relevant. You know, you got these people stuck together who can't leave, and the ends start to fray between their interactions, and I don't know, it felt very appropriate to me to watch it right now. So I wonder whether that played at all into your heightened appreciation of it this time around.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, actually, because obviously it most certainly did. However, this film, while playing better during, I don't know if playing better is the right word to say, this film had way more of an impact on me because of everything that's happening. But the thing to remember about this film is it's a 9/11 movie. Even though it's 10 years removed from 9/11, this film is about 9/11 more than it is, say, about like or more. I think it relates more to 9/11 than it does to, say, a pandemic. And that's the thing that I kept focusing on. Actually, I'm going, yes, this is a disaster, but this is about society breaking down in the wake of a disaster of 9/11, and how, like, you think about like what happened like across the sea, and like, attacking Iraq and all that sort of stuff. And you look at the character of Mickey. I mean, all these characters are really dense. You look at a character like Mickey, who's like this racist super, and he's played by Michael Biehn. And I gotta be honest with you, Michael Biehn, I love you, Mike. There were parts of this movie, and I felt like they were sort of like figuring out their character arcs as the movie was going along, because his performance is really inconsistent. And there are some parts where he is so over the top, so overacting, and then there are other parts where he's more subtle, and he's like this super that like was a fireman in 9/11, and his he misses his wife, who's played by his real life. Say that 5 times fast. Real life wife,
or once, right?
Yeah. In the film. And yeah, so he's like, he's kind of like, this guy is living in this with this mentality of 9/11 is why they're all alive in the first place. He set up a bunker down in the building that he works in. He's got food and he's got power and all this stuff. And it just sort of like, again, it's like a micro look at how society overall, for human society, breaks down in a scenario like this. Is there any particular character that you sort of like, that something that you really noticed? I'll get to the big one for me in a bit. Go ahead. Let me know what you were thinking.
Okay, so I just want to comment real fast on Michael Biehn. I read a little bit about the movie after I watched it, and I read that, and this is not a thematic kind of thing to bring up. I read that originally Michael Bihn's character was written to be like a lot more racist, and I wonder whether Michael Biehn kind of like pushed back on that, like maybe he as a person wasn't comfortable taking that level of performance. And so as a guy who's been behind the camera, I wonder whether that created friction between him and the director at all, or I don't know. It's a lot of speculating, but maybe that's why he kind of came off kind of inconsistent, because he, maybe he had a different idea about what the character was supposed to be than the director did. But I'll tell you, the character I found most, I'm not going to say I liked it the most. Obviously, it's probably the character of Bobby, the one we talked.
Is that Milo?
No, that's Milo's buddy. So Milo is he's got a younger brother, but who's trapped down there.
His half younger brother.
His half brother, but he's got another dude.
The three of them were the most.
And the buddy Bobby. He's the most. To me, it was fascinating to watch him, because he starts off right as and I don't know what, like, should we try to keep it kind of chronological or kind of bounce around, or
chronological, but don't worry about spoilers, because the whole point of this is to like dice. Really, that's what I really wanted to talk about, was the triangle going on between Bobby. We should learn their names. It's Bob. Go ahead, talk. I'm gonna look them up right now.
Yeah. So Bobby, I think the younger brother's name is Adrian. No, that's not right. Anyway,
I'll find out in 2 seconds for you.
Yeah, I shouldn't say. I guess. So what I liked about Bobby was that he's one of two characters who have a pretty clearly downward spiral, right? Except the other one kind of seems to, like, they both sort of descend into brutality and madness, right? But the other one, I guess Milo's character, kind of embraces it. And Bobby does some awful stuff. He does some terrible things, but he's also, when you get down to the end, seems seems conflicted about it. Like he's struggling a lot internally.
So Adrian is the younger brother. He's the half brother who's related to Josh. Josh is Milo.
Josh.
And then Mickey is Michael Biehn. Wait, what's the name of the? So Bobby is played by a guy named Michael Eklund, and that's the guy from Errors of the Human Body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man, he's so upsetting. There's a moment. I don't want to. All right, I'm going to try to keep it. But at the beginning, I found Josh and Bobby to be the most uninteresting because they just seemed kind of. And I'm talking about the very beginning. They just seemed kind of generic douches, right? Like
right.
they're the ones who they're the first ones who were trying to get back out. They're the ones giving Mickey the most static about his space, and not being accommodating. And they're just kind of pushy and gross. But of course, as time goes by, and especially after the big plot thing that comes and goes, and this is not a movie. I think you touched on this already. This is not a movie that spoon feeds you anything, right?
No.
It's such a. I don't know. I don't want to make it seem like that plot point that occurs is not important. I think it's interesting. I think it's worth talking about. But in the overall
what is the plot point, you're dancing around it. Go ahead.
Okay. So
dive in.
At one point. Okay. So after you already mentioned that, like, so. Sorry, Josh and Bobby and Adrian are there. There's also, I think, a woman named Eva. Is that her name?
Eva is Laura German.
Right. And she's got a fiance / boyfriend, I'm not sure, who's a French guy.
Yes, that is Sam.
And then there's Michael Biehn, of course, the super Mickey. Yeah. And
of course he's an Irish guy.
He's an Irish guy. Then Rosanna Arquette and Marilyn, I think her name is.
Yeah, she's Marilyn.
She's Marilyn.
I have it right in front of me.
Okay. So you're testing me. She has a daughter.
No, I just pulled it up just so I can confirm for you. Sorry, go ahead.
She has a daughter. And by the way, I guess as a side note, we'll definitely come back to this. Wendy's the daughter. We'll definitely come back to this. But there's also Courtney B. Vance there, who I noticed from the very, very beginning was the only black character in the ensemble. And I think Delvin, I think there's a lot of weight to his arc. But anyway, your question that I'm dancing all around. What was the plot element? You mentioned that a bunch of hazmat suited, armed, at least paramilitary, if not officially military men, break into the basement. They seize Wendy, inject her, throw her into a safe bag, and drag her out. And then, slam the door behind them. And Mickey's concern is that he doesn't want the door open because of radioactive particles and stuff like that, which ends up being a fair worry. So the big plot thing that makes you think this movie is going to take a certain kind of direction is that at some point they decide, okay, somebody's going to put on. Okay, they have one of the suits. They killed one of the interlopers, and they have his hazmat suit. And they say,
There are three of them.
That's right. You're right. Yeah. They killed several of them. And they say, okay, we're going to put somebody in one of these suits to go out there and see what the hell's going on. Right. So Josh ends up kind of getting browbeaten into it, called a pussy, right? And so he puts on the suit.
Was he browbeaten? I feel like he
didn't want to go.
I feel like he stepped up to the challenge. Am I wrong about that? Somebody else? No, there was somebody else, and then he volunteered. There was somebody else who was. Oh, it was Sam, maybe.
I thought Eva said she would do it. And Sam was like, don't.
Something. But he became a white knight about it. He was like, I'll do it.
Yeah. So he goes out. But as soon as he opens the door, instead of seeing a pile of rubble, instead of seeing a blasted landscape or of a ruined building or whatever, he opens the door onto like a plastic sheeted tube.
Yeah, it's like sealed off. And there's like a tunnel.
Right. and he's sealed off right there, and he goes down through the tunnel, and it's like a haphazard lab setup or something like that, field lab setup.
Right.
And there's other one of these military guys, and there's a bunch of lab equipment, and then there's these tanks, these big water, or I don't know if they're full of water, but there's these like chambers, and he looks in all the chambers, and it's every chamber is full of a child who's like, including Wendy, who's had her head shaved and is hooked up to like a breathing tube and something like that. And Josh kind of freaks out and gets the attention of the other military dudes wandering around, and they say, "Hey, what the hell?" And he rushes back down inside. And so now, as a veteran of thousands and thousands of post-apocalyptic sci-fi movies, you know, I'm imagining the adventure that's going to come where they try to sneak back out again. But this movie says, no, this isn't that movie.
Yep.
The next thing that happens after Josh
let me down, which initially my first time watching it, I'm going, what the fuck? Like, what? Like, that was so cool. Like, go back to that, you know?
Yeah, you think, like, if you've seen enough, you know, I don't want to say boilerplate, but more traditional science fiction or post-apocalyptic movies, you know what's going to happen is that they're all going to figure out some ingenious way to go out and get some more suits or whatever and deal with life on the outside. But no, almost immediately after Josh gets back inside, the people inside hear the military men come back to the door, and instead of busting it open to break heads, they just weld it shut.
Right.
You never get out through that door again.
It's so not at all. It's like, it's so subtle. It's like, it's there if you want to look at it. You know what I mean? It's there if you want to see it. And that is why I, you know, really, really like have so much respect this last time around watching, because I'm going, my God, it's like he's talking about, and the way you get the 9/11 stuff is obviously you see it's a disaster in New York, obviously the framing device, but the 9/11 stuff comes from Mickey's little apartment down in the basement where he has his, you know, his fire, you know, his fire
stuff and
all his trinkets and stuff, and he kind of turned into like a doomsday prepper survivalist after everything that happened in 9/11. But I want, before we dive into anything else, I want to get to the meat of this conversation, like the real thing that like blew my mind, and I was like, I want to get Steve on the show and like dissect this with him. I want to see if you picked up on any of this. So like I said, I've seen this movie 5 times now. I never noticed this before. And maybe I just wasn't, maybe again, sometimes you're just too drawn to the plot to look at the characters. So here's what I noticed. This movie is obviously all of those things that we just mentioned, but it's also a deconstruction of the male ego. That's what this movie is. So Josh represents a whole person. Josh, Milo, is a whole person, right? Bobby is the id.
Yeah.
And Adrian is
like the super ego.
The super ego. Yeah. And Bobby, and Josh is in the middle, being slowly conflicted, obviously giving into his id instead of the super ego. He gives into the id, which is Bobby, and they transform. As the movie goes on, they transform into the ugliest versions of themselves, and they shave off all their hair, and they become controllers of the food, and they become super duper beyond misogynistically abusive and violent towards women, and just like all this stuff. It becomes like a fraternity, and there's like some homoeroticism like aspects, like all the stuff, all of this. It's a deconstruction of the male psyche is what this movie is. And what's interesting, if you notice, Adrian, the little brother, he gets wounded. He gets shot by the bullet. So it's like the super ego gets wounded, allowing the id to become stronger. And then how does the id get fed? They need to chop up the bodies. So the id feeds itself by engaging in this macabre act of chopping up bodies. And by the end of the movie, we're left, Josh is left, he's taken a bullet to the chest, And the bullet to the chest represents his id is destroyed and his super ego is destroyed. And he can't hide behind either thing anymore. He's left as the pathetic creature that he really is. You know, this like ultimate form of male toxicity, exposed with not being able to hide under anything, and ultimately defeated. He takes a lantern and destroys himself.
Right.
And destroys society in the process. And that is what I picked up this last time watching. And to me, it's fucking brilliant. That blew my fucking mind.
Yeah, no, I think that's a solid read. I think even Sam, the character Sam, the Eva's French fiance.
Right.
I keep saying he's French because I want to get to something. Yeah, I think he supports that theory too, because he's the he's like a placator, right? Like he's
a people pleaser. He's a placator. He's also like, he's the type of guy. Again, I'm not saying I'm speaking. God, I'm describing a social construct here. I'm not saying that this is what he is. He is the he's a cuck. He is the stereotypical guy who's got his balls in a jar and the girlfriend holds on to the jar. That's what I mean. Like it's the sort of archetype that he occupies.
There's a really interesting bit to me regarding Sam. Or beta, right? Is basically
beta. He's beta.
And you're right. These are just things that we made up I mean humans, we made up to give ourselves excuses for some of the shitty ways to behave. But it's not like if you were going to make a statement about the way humans behave, you would want to completely ignore this kind of stuff, right? But there's something interesting to me about Sam is that early on, this kills me. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he's forced to do something, or something is done to him. And this is before they try to make him chop up one of the bodies, and then Eva jumps in, right?
That's towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, that's toward the end. But earlier on, there's something that happens, and it's killing me. Maybe you can help me out.
When they're sitting around and drinking?
Is that it? No, I mean, it's even before that.
Too.
Yeah, no, it's early on. Something happens, and it kind of traumatizes. It's when Sam starts acting weird. And it's killing me that I can't remember what it was that happened to him. Do you remember? Sorry, Jen's right here.
Military guy explodes all over him.
Is it okay? So it's when the military dude explodes all over him.
He suffers PTSD, man.
He does. There's a moment, and I don't know to what extent. Thank you, Jen. She's in the next.
Thank you, Jen.
Jeff says thank you. I don't know to what extent the filmmaker was intending to subvert tropes or cliches in these kind of movies, but there's a moment where when Sam's all covered in blood, he gets this look on his face, and it's kind of a steely anger face, right? And that face, in my mind, in most movies, is a precursor to the character assuming, sometimes toxic, sometimes helpful, badassdom, right?
Right. That's the type of, in general, what happens is it's baptism by blood in movies in general. Yeah. You when you get covered in blood, it's I think the greatest example of all is The Descent. She falls into a pool of blood, which also some would say symbolizes, womanhood, through getting your period. She falls into a pool of blood, and when she's reborn, the warrior that she needs to be in order to fight the creatures. And in general, I think Ash is probably the best example of all. Baptized in blood, Ash becomes the thing that he needs to be in order to fight the nightmares that surround him.
And what's interesting to me is that in this particular movie is that Sam gets baptized in blood, and for a while you think maybe the primal Sam monster is going to come out, but by the end of the movie, no, it's the exact opposite. Right. He's become subservient, right?
Becomes a dog. They literally treat, that's a running theme. First it's with Marilyn. They start, she starts barking, or they bark at her. Yeah, it's terrible. And then Sam becomes the next dog when they say it's so grisly what they do to Marilyn. They break her. That's what they say. She broke. They turned her into and the way that when trapped in this situation, they turned on her. She loses her child. She loses her motherhood, and therefore looks for any type of human connection and accepts the abuse that these guys give to her because it's the only human connection that she has now without being a mother.
What
so
kills
sad.
me is how it all started. Not how it all started, but the first time that she and Bobby make a connection, it feels so tender.
It
right?
is. It
Like
is. It's innocent. It's very innocent.
God. And then you fast forward in your mind, you fast forward 30 or 40 minutes to the movie, and what Bobby does to her later, it's so much worse. It's so horrifying.
I will say there's a scene, sorry to cut you off. There's a scene at the dinner table, which to me, that was the one scene where I was like, you know what I'm talking about. The scene where I'm not even going to say it out on there. There's a scene that's just, it's just done. I'm not sure what I think it was just over the top, man. I feel like we didn't need it. I feel like we just didn't need it. And it was just really, I mean, I understand why it was done, but it was disgusting. It was just a disgusting scene of like, not like that her body was disgusting, but just that the way that he talked to her about her body and just the whole thing, like he shamed her for her situation. It just was gross. The whole thing was gross to me. And it just felt like, you know what it felt? It just felt gratuitous. And you know what else felt gratuitous too? From the first time I watched it, it's never sat well. When she puts the lipstick on and she kind of goes overboard with the lipstick, that felt a little too it was too on the nose. That's what that scene was. The gross scene, the scene that like was supposed to be like, you know, hit us over the head with the misogyny. It was just too much. We just didn't need it, man. It just turned into like this.
I wonder. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna have to percolate on that for a little while, because like I agree with you that it was pretty clear to me how Bobby and Josh were mistreating Marilyn. Like on at first flash, I want to say, yeah, I agree with you. I didn't need it to get that gross. I didn't need it to get that uncomfortable. But then I start thinking about movies like, you know.
Yeah, but it was cartoonish. That's the word I'm looking for.
You're talking now about the lipstick, right?
Oh no, I was talking. Well, yeah, the lipstick. Yeah, you know what? And
the lipstick. Yeah.
They're both cartoonish, man. That's the thing. Both of these, the scene I'm referring to, the other scene, they're eating food. Marilyn has her period at the table, and Bobby, Josh, just absolutely insults her for this very natural thing in a fucking terrible situation, and shames her. And it's like, so the whole thing is, it was just a very sad scene, but it also felt kind of like cartoonish. Like, is that how Marilyn would have reacted in that situation? Is that how, like, it just was the whole thing. It just, I don't know. It made me feel uncomfortable. It never sat well with me. And it just felt cartoonish. That's the way I think of it.
I see your viewpoint, and I think I'm inclined to agree with it. I just want to kind of sit on it for a little while. Like, I think about there's a friend of mine. I don't know how big a tangent. I should keep this short, but like, you know that scene in Fargo where Marge meets with the Mike Tanaka at the hotel, right? And
dude, it's been so.
Oh, really?
Wait, hold on. Say this one more time. Say their names.
Marge meets with Mike Tanaka, Frances McDormand.
Right, Frances McDormand is Marge. Gotcha.
Yeah, she meets with this old guy from high school who called her after she showed up on TV, and and
I don't remember it, dude. I don't.
It's just super awkward, and he's really uncomfortable, and it's almost comical, like how weird he is. And he claims, God, this has turned into a longer thing. Anyway, the point is, he claims that he was married to this girl from high school, but that she died of cancer, and that was sad, and now he's lonely, and it's just a really awkward scene. And later,
she's like pregnant though, too, right?
Oh yeah, she's totally pregnant. She's very, very pregnant. That whole movie. Then there's a scene later where she's talking on her phone to a different high school friend, and she mentions the death of this woman, and the person she's talking to said, what are you talking about? He's crazy. She's not dead. You should call her. I just talked to her the other week, right? And so there's this podcast where Kevin Smith was talking to I think Mark Maron or something like that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Jesus, it doesn't matter. Focus, man. And Mark pointed out that like it was that scene, it was the goofy scene earlier with Mike Tanaka, and the subsequent revelation of his lie that put the idea of deceit into Marge's head. Like she's just Minnesota nice before that point, and it's only after she has that realization that she goes back to William H. Macy at the car lot. It's only after that point that she starts to suspect deception, because it wasn't even in her head before that point. My whole point, and Kevin Smith was like, "Oh my God, dude, I never thought about that." My whole point is this: is that I want to say that scene is icky, and we didn't need it, but I kind of want to give it a little more time for myself to see if maybe that sets up some other understanding that comes later in the movie that I personally haven't had yet, having only seen it once and very recently.
If you pose that question, if you pose that to me as a question, which I'm going to force you to right now.
I'm posing it to you as a question.
Jeff, does that set up something later in the scene, which is something I never considered before? Let me think about that. Does it set up? Are we talking about the lipstick, or are we talking about the period?
I am more inclined to think that the period scene is more meaningful, just because it was the more uncomfortable for me. I'm like 70% with you already about the lipstick. The lipstick was just kind of a weird shot. Like maybe the director didn't know, he leaned on this.
Cool, man. It was a little.
It was.
Hey, I'm going crazy. Look at the way I put lipstick on. It's like, dude, you've been down there for what, a couple of weeks. You still know how to put on some lipstick. It just felt so unrealistic to me.
Yeah, it seemed like somebody reaching into like a bag of easy symbols, right? Like I need a symbol for.
I like that.
It's like clip art, right? Or like it's like movie wingdings or something.
Whoa. Dude, that was a great pull right there. Okay, to answer the question about the period thing, what I think that scene, or what I take away, if I have to take away something from that scene, even though I don't want it in the film, it's just another scene of like of Josh and Bobby by default stripping her further of her womanhood, because that's her arc. Her arc is that she's slowly, like, for her, I think, okay, for her in the movie, what defines her is her motherhood. Her child gets taken away, and so she needs something to define her as she looks for human connection. And what that is sexuality, right? And so what is the thing that makes a woman partially? Your ability to, like, or maybe on a biological level, we know there's many different levels to being a woman, especially in today's day and age. But from a biological standpoint, your period is something that makes you a woman. And so for her to, like, have this very natural thing happen to her, and for them to shame her, they're shaming her womanhood further, because what they're doing is they're slowly stripping everything away, to the point where when they bind her, she doesn't care. She doesn't care about being on the stairwell. She doesn't care about anything anymore. And that's how she breaks. They break her. She doesn't fight back being broken. She eventually walks away, and they pull her right back.
Yeah.
And that's the only fight. That's the last chance that she puts up a fight. And then she's dead. And that's the end of her. And it's very sad.
It's very sad. Like she even, dies off screen, and it's not good. Like it's awful what happens to her. And I want to read into it. Like, for instance, like I said, that first touch she has with Bobby doesn't seem sexual to me. It seems warm. It seems
she needs physical touch, like connection, to replace what she's lost.
But because Bobby is what he is, I guess he doesn't he doesn't have that. He doesn't have the thing that she needs. So for him, the touch becomes sex, and that's how it starts with them. And then he just like, I guess, this is the
Well,
thing
she
about.
falls in his lap. It falls in his
Mhm.
lap. It's like if she walked by him 100 times, I believe
Mhm.
this about Bobby, that character. If she had walked by him 100 times, he would not necessarily have gone after her. It was because she fell in his lap. He was like, "Oh, this fell in my lap. Okay, I will take this on, and I will do what
Mhm.
I do with these things, which is destroy them." And but part of that too is like, would the Bobby at the beginning of the movie destroy her, Marilyn, in the same way that the Bobby at the end of the movie would? No, he would probably sleep with her as a one night stand and be gone the next day, still like probably still like scummy, but like
Sure.
not to the extent he slowly he devolves, and as he devolves, he latches on to Josh because Josh
Mhm.
he needs Josh to like.
There's such a negative feedback loop between the two of them. Each one of them makes
Yeah,
the other worse.
they feed off of each
They
other.
do. Yeah.
They feed off of each other. And Adrian, who's physically injured, represents, like I
Mhm.
said, he's the wounded superego who stands by and lectures about how this is wrong, but doesn't do anything to stop it, which is exactly what a superego would do. And
Right.
so,
Right.
and here's the thing that I heard in the commentary, and this I found to be interesting, and I want to hear. Don't think of this as a test. I just want to see what you pull out of it. I want to go through these characters. So the theme. Well, first, before we get there, let's talk about Ava because I think she's
Okay.
very important. We learned something about Ava a little bit into the movie. How do you think that impacted her actions at the end of the film?
Yeah. It's. I've been trying to puzzle that out myself, and I don't want to lean on the easy answer. I think the easiest way to explain um, Ava and Marilyn is that maybe the director just doesn't get women all that well. I think that, but I don't want to lean on that. I want to kind of put myself in the headspace of the movie and just trust that everything is there for a reason.
Well,
And
hold on.
so,
Before you say that, I just want to say one thing. I don't think just because I think Marilyn is a very what happens to her. And again, I'm not saying I liked what happened to her, but I'm
sure.
saying what happened to her and who she was as a person, I think is very realistic to some women in society. There are some women that are, I don't know if it would go down exactly like that, but I think
Yeah, yeah.
in the sense that, for sure there are mothers that are, and again, I know that like times are changing. That's not true, but not always true, but there are some mothers who, okay, I'll speak from my own experience. As a parent, my child is my life. And if something, I don't even want to say it out loud. Point is that my children are my life. I've heard my wife say this too. And so
Mhm.
on some level, I think this woman falls into the category of a person. Maybe the father's not in the picture. We don't know what happened. Maybe the father died.
Right, right.
Maybe the child is all that she has left in this world. For all we know, she has no family. And so when this child gets taken from her, it changes her. And I think
Mhm.
I think that's a very valid like thing. I think that is a valid understanding of what happens to some women who experience the loss of a child.
Yeah, it's not a remark on women, I guess. It's a remark on this person happens this woman happens to be her identity is structured around her child. And for as a side note, I think the only chance you have, and I don't mean you, Jeff. I mean
Right, right,
anybody.
right.
The only chance anybody has at being a good parent is to understand as soon as the child arrives that this is now the most important thing. This is more important than you. This is
Yeah,
important.
I would say that's very true.
And so when she has that seized from her in like maybe there would have been a healthy way for her to grow, but it wasn't going to happen down in that basement.
No, yeah, it
It
wasn't
just
going to
was
happen
not
in
going to
that
happen.
situation. She in that situation went into survival mode, and this is what I think
Mhm.
happened with the actors. The actors very much workshop their characters as they're doing this thing, and so they all decided that she When she loses her child, she goes into survival mode. What does she do? She grasps on to a warm body, which happens to unfortunately be Bobby.
Right. And Bobby, I think, I don't want to, I don't know if this is oversharing too much or if I'm about to confess to some pathology or something like that, but I think Bobby has this resentment. There's a feeling, I don't know if you've ever felt it, but I'll confess to having felt it. When you are presented with weakness or what you perceive to be weakness, it's easy to lash out at that. Right? It's that some kind of
dude. That is so. First of all, that is like such base human nature. That's nothing. That's something that I feel like people. I feel like a lot of people experience that. I can tell you personally that sometimes I can be a psychic vampire. You know what that means? It means that I feed off of getting a rise out of someone. Now, does that mean I feed on a weaker person? No, but if I see someone as easy to provoke. And it happens with family members. It's so easy to provoke a family member and to create eliciting a negative reaction into them for whatever reason. It's a character defect. It's a terrible character defect. It's a horrible behavior. It's a toxic behavior. But I understand. I can see how exactly what you're saying in the idea that when it's like a shark smelling blood in the water. You smell blood. Oh, this person is very susceptible to being upset. It's effortless for me to elicit that emotion in a situation where we're in this fucking basement that's now a tomb because we've been sealed in. We have no food. And there's nothing to do 24/7.
Asterisk. We have no food, but yeah, we can get back to that.
Right. Asterisk. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah. So,
yeah. And so I'm thinking about.
This doesn't excuse anything that happens. We're trying to understand how society in this bunker breaks down and causes people to do the things that they do.
Yeah. I think about, man, there are things that I noticed, and I already mentioned one of them, that I want to believe were deliberate choices. One of them is the fact that Delvin is the only black character who makes it down into that basement, and I have to think that the director
could that have been by accident. Maybe that Mickey was trying to, because we know that Mickey's racist.
Right.
Let's talk about that. How does that all play into it?
Well, that's what I was going to say is that and there's another observation I'll make here in a second. We can kind of attack them both at once. It's maybe it was just that's how the casting went. But the fact that Mickey's character is vocally racist and visibly racist makes me think that the director wanted me to notice this connection, right? And the same thing with this other one.
There's a lot of tension between the two of them.
There's a lot of tension between the two of them. Delvin, despite being probably the most rational character in the basement, is the one rational,
yes.
Mickey seems to mistrust the most, right? And Delvin's trying to get a radio working, and when the military guys show up, Mickey blames Delvin for having gotten their attention with his radio, although there's no reason to believe that was the case.
Right.
The other characterization didn't really strike me until I noticed, there's a point we realized, okay, so this was the asterisk I was talking about earlier, is that it looks like they're out of food. They only have a little bit of food, but then somebody notices Mickey is sneaking into a hidden room, and we come to find out
an American flag. Mickey
That's it. It's a big American flag covering a hidden doorway, and seeing that American flag, and then seeing later when we fast forward past the point where, I mean, let's just spill it out on the table, right? Bobby and Josh torture Mickey into giving them the combination lock to the secret room,
which also is a friggin' commentary on what happened.
That's it. It was right there the whole time. I'm just
a dumbass. Dude. It was Guantanamo Bay. It was all these things. They're torturing this dude for information that they're not even sure if there's the existence of extra food or not. In the same way that
they have no idea.
Yellow cake, it's just it's all there.
So past that point, after, and this is in the real like depths of the movie, right, where everybody's at their worst. You know, we have the scenes. Bobby and Josh have stationed themselves in the secret room behind that American flag, and they're, you know, I don't know, they're awful at this point. And this is when I notice Sam really bowing and scraping to them behind this room, and I can't help noticing that
Right, he started barking like a dog. That's
literally
again,
barking. Yeah.
barking like a dog.
I can't help noticing, because the American flag is such a prominent piece of these scenes, and because Sam is the only accented character in the whole movie, I can't help noticing that we have a French character.
Wow, I did not pick up on that.
No,
they're in America. He's an immigrant in America, and they're making him bark like a dog.
Yeah, and
whoa,
I had these weird like Vichy feels, and like I don't know, I mean, then I started wondering, well, the director of this movie is French, so maybe I'm reading too much, or maybe he is French. Yeah.
Oh, right, so, you knew he was French, right?
Yeah. So I don't know, like the director wanted me to think about this character and wanted me to see the only French character in the movie bowing and scraping to, by this point, the white shaved-headed.
Oh my God, they have shaved heads. They become fucking nuts.
I'm telling you, that's what I was thinking the last act of the movie.
I forgot that. Right, they become like American skin-headed, and they're like shirtless, you know, like kind of like they just look
like aggressively male, you know, just
yeah. Wow, dude, you're blowing my mind right now. And now here's what's interesting, though. So here's the other thing that's interesting. So to get back to Laura German, who plays Ava. So she,
yes, you asked me about her.
No, it's okay. I'm gonna take us there because I want to. I feel like this is important to talk about. This is huge, actually, which leads me into as we're beginning our descent now.
Right. We should try to.
But there's a lot to talk about. But let's begin our descent. So Laura German, Ava, is Sam's fiance or girlfriend or whatever. She's clearly not into him. There seems to be only platonic love left. Platonic love left.
It's probably radioactive too. So I mean, plutonic is
right. Plutonic, that works. And what's interesting is, so Ava is loyal to Sam because Sam pulled her off on the street. It turns out she was a junkie. But she is interested in Adrian, the brother.
Yes.
She has like feelings for him. They have feelings for each other, but they never act on them.
Right. I think it's interesting to note how we, the audience, learn about Ava's past. It's not from some confessional or something from her.
Right.
It's Sam in a moment of anger throwing it back in her face.
She doesn't want anybody. It's almost as if she would never want anyone to know who or what she was, which brings me to the next point. So this is how the movie ends, people. Spoilers if you haven't seen it. Spoilers. Stop it here.
Seriously.
Come back. It'll be on YouTube again if you want to watch it at some point. If you want to watch this commentary.
You're going to talk about poop, aren't you?
No. Yeah, I am going to talk about poop. Okay. Lime, sprinkle the lime on the poop.
Oh my God!
What happens is, and you know what? I feel I was very disappointed when I first saw this movie because I was like, I really thought there was going to be some cannibalism. Mickey talks about possibly eating the guys, had they the paramilitary guys. I kind of felt like the movie could have gone there. I guess I see why it didn't. Now, after the last time watching it, I'm glad that they didn't go there. But like at the time, I was like, it'd be really. I thought maybe it would be great. So Laura German, Ava, there's this brutal standoff. Josh sets himself on fire after his brother is killed and Bobby is killed. And we have to talk about, I want to hear your opinion as to why Bobby aimed the gun at Josh's head. And I think I know why, but I want to hear what you have to say first. But I want to just talk about, so Ava locks out Sam and Mickey. There's a subplot about getting a gun, a pistol that's in a coffee can, and Bobby tries to he takes things to the last level with Sam. First they make him bark like a dog, then they try he sort of half seriously, half jokingly sexualizes Sam, trying to get him to give him a blowjob. And if Sam had started, Bobby would have totally been cool with it. But it's almost like he was testing him to see how far he could take it. And Sam say, and then eventually only to say, just kidding. And they also, when they have their hair shaved, they kind of they become moles. It's like they become mole people. They become these monstrous mole people. But anyway, Ava locks herself in. I'm sorry. Oh yeah. Allen, man. Ava locks herself into the private quarters of Mickey, puts on the hazmat suit, and goes out. Mickey tells her how to escape, and she goes out. She wades through the shit. Shit.
I was picturing up to the knees or something when she jumps down into the sewage system, but no, she's like, good thing she's got this hazmat because it's like splashing up in her face.
She's wading in shit. She takes some of the food, she locks them out, and she runs. She just runs, and she wades through shit. And when she gets to the surface, she walks around the destroyed remains of Manhattan, and that in itself is a statement because. So here's what I'm trying to say. Everybody, and I heard, I can't take credit for this because I heard this in the commentary. But
I'm sorry, real fast. How are you listening to a commentary? Was it on?
I have it on Blu-ray. I bought this.
Okay.
I bought it years and years and years ago on Blu-ray.
You mentioned Tubi, so I was just assuming you were watching it on Tubi, but that's stupid. You said
no. Well, it was on. I think it was on. Where else? I think it was on Shudder too. Maybe I don't know where else I saw it, but I didn't see it on Tubi. I just saw it was free on Tubi.
Right.
Later on, but I have it on Blu-ray as well. So I had to listen to the commentary. And the one thing that they talk about on the disc is everybody except for one character gives into darkness. They all give into darkness throughout the movie, except actually that's not true. Wendy, the little girl, she does not. She's an innocent.
Sure.
She doesn't count.
Yeah.
But they all give into a darkness in one way or another. And there's only one person who doesn't give into the darkness.
They're not saying it's Ava, is it?
No,
it's not. No,
Ava's the worst one of them all. She's
okay, right? She's terrible. Right.
She leaves them to burn to death in the thing, and ultimately, it's her ruthlessness that allows her to survive and look at what she inherits, and that's the final image of the movie: is her face as she looks over what's left, and there's nothing left. She betrayed what it turns out that everything that was left was down there, and they destroyed themselves. And when she betrays them and goes to the surface, that's what the vermin, because she's vermin for what she does.
Yeah.
But she's also acting on instinct. She's acting on her survival instincts. She lived on the streets and she was a junkie, and who knows what she's done to survive. And so she went into a fight or flight response and chose survival over her humanity. And so she's the last to give into her darkness. She gives it, and you can't tell. She's teetering the whole movie. She's teetering. And then finally she gives into darkness, and she ultimately gets her just desserts as she walks around, and there's nothing left. What is she left? There's nothing left for her. And that's the way the movie ends. And it's fucking brilliant. But each one, we've talked about, Josh gives into his darkness. Bobby gives into his darkness. Adrian gives into darkness by non-action. Marilyn gives into her darkness by looking for a connection and allowing herself to be destroyed. How does Devlin give into darkness? And does he?
So, okay, I'm very curious now. What and go ahead, grill me, and I'll answer. But I'm curious what the commentary said. Who was the one character who did not? But Devlin is such a fascinating character to me, and I wondered how much of it was like because I wondered how much of it was internal to me and doing when I like metagaming the movie instead of just watching it for what it is. Like, because I'm thinking, okay, we have one black guy in something that is at least in a movie that is at least horror adjacent, right? What is that going to mean? And okay, so spoiler, he does die. He's killed by Mickey. And
oh my God. And what does that fucking say about the state of things today with fucking police brutality and
right,
shit.
right, because that's what Mickey represents, right? Mickey's that authoritative. I mean, I know he's fire department, not police, but still, he represents. I don't know. To me, he sort of represents that kind of authoritative thing. Yeah, and then of course, once Bobby and Josh are, skinheadify themselves, this just kind of solidified my opinion about what Devlin represented. He's this guy who's arguably he's got the best thinking about the situation, right? The most rational and the safest, but the guy's kind of cursed because he's trapped down in a basement. He's a black man trapped down in a basement with a bunch of like firebrand white guys, right?
Wow.
And so he's kind of doomed from the beginning, even though that maybe I don't know what salvation could have looked like for these guys. And in fact, I want to talk about that in a second. But whatever avenues he was willing to explore to get everybody out and keep everybody safe, I don't think they were equipped to even consider it, because they were going to descend into this toxic tribalism, this infighting, and he has probably the clearest excuse for them to outgroup him, because he's the only.
It's funny. I was trying to remember what they said that he gave it. They said that he gave into darkness too, but I'm actually trying to remember what it was, and I don't know if he.
I know
now. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
What?
I think I know. He was saving one of those suits in a locker because he had. I never
noticed that. Whoa.
He said something weird. I don't know. I would like to have seen, or not in the movie, obviously, but I'm curious what the floor plan of the basement looked like, because there was a point where he was in a space that he very clearly considered private, because he was checking on
he did his push-ups. He had the water in the locker.
Had the water in the locker, the same locker where he was stowing one of those.
Oh my God! I never fucking noticed that he was. It was almost like I never picked up that it was almost like he'd stashed it there, and that's why it showed us that he was drinking water, because they wanted us to know that he was stashing a suit.
He was holding out a little, yeah. So I guess that's his darkness. Or
I was going to say was that he turned on that he turned on Mickey a little bit when they found out that there was food doesn't he. Oh no, because Mickey killed him.
Isn't he dead by then?
Yeah, you know what? Wow, you want to know something? I want to listen to this commentary again, because they said something.
Yeah.
So the person that they said doesn't give into the darkness is actually Mickey. Mickey is the only one. Forget it. Here's the thing: you have to forget about the fact that he's a racist.
You're right, because
he's the only guy who never gives in to the darkness. He lets everybody down there. He feeds them. He's trying to. He keeps the food from them, but as a survivor guy, there's so many reasons why why it was legitimate for what he was doing. I'm not saying that that's what he was doing, because we ultimately never got to find out, but there were many reasons we never got to find out, because they tried him and tortured him before they had any sort of understanding of what his, I mean, it's very possible that he was just trying to keep the food from. He had no idea how long they were going to be down there for. In his mind, they could have been down there for years, and he had so many people to worry about that he had to figure. Probably he realized these people are in his welfare. Everybody's complaining to him about the state of things, even though he's the one that let them down there in the first place. Like they're treating it like Hotel Mickey, like they've paid him to be down there.
Yeah, I have to confess, I guess it comes from a kind of a part of my personality I'm not really proud of, but there were points where I was very, very much on Mickey's side, screaming at these people. This is his place. I was
on his side too. No, listen, again, okay. But here's the thing. Just because he's a racist doesn't mean we can't be on his side, in the sense that his racism didn't feel. It didn't feel. It felt very on the surface, and I'll tell you why. Because yes, he had a lot of, as you said before, he had a lot of conflict with Devlin and stuff. But I think if it came down to the line of survival, if it came down to things,
Yeah.
that he and Devlin would have like banded together and did whatever they needed to do to survive. It wouldn't be like, and ultimately that was not the case in the movie. Ultimately, Mickey fucking chooses to kill Devlin because he has to keep the secret of the food. He's trying to keep the food secret.
Right.
That's what happens. He kills him to keep the food secret. Now, here's the thing, though. Mickey is the only one from beginning to end that doesn't get corrupted. Never once is he corrupted. And that's what I mean by
not giving
yes, he's a racist. Yes, he's like, he's an asshole, but he never gets corrupted. From everybody changes from the beginning to the end. Maybe that's what I mean by darkness. It's not dark. They use the word darkness, but everybody has a metamorphosis. Mickey's the only one who remains. His humanity remains in the sense that they're dying. And what does he do? He's comforting Sam, like the firefighter that he is. And so there's some like, like American patriotic like propaganda in there of like, look at the firefighter fucking trying to save the day at the end. But at the same time, it's like he's staring at a picture of his wife, and he never betrays what he was about from the beginning. So even murdering Devlin, that was always a part of Mickey's like makeup. He's murdering Devlin to protect the food because they all want to survive. And probably in his racist little mind, he's like, and this guy's black, so fuck him, or whatever his modus operandi might have been. So it's like Mickey never gives in. And that's what they highlighted in the commentary. And I thought that was very true.
Yeah, and when you say it, it makes perfect sense to me, because like it's when you hear that phrase "gives into the darkness," it's easy to assume that they're talking about bad guys, right? And it's hard to pin down what a bad guy is in this movie because everybody acts in such self-interest, but Mickey's the one who doesn't subvert himself, right? He's the one who doesn't break down. He's very consistent from the beginning. These are my principles, and I hold on to them the whole time up until like he doesn't even get murdered or anything. Like even after they, hack his finger off, he's still Mickey at the end of this. He's not some disintegrated shadow.
Two things I just realized. So first of all, I think the better way to qualify this is that it's not give into the darkness, like they said on that commentary. It's change.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mickey doesn't change. Wendy does. Wendy is taken and she becomes something else. We see her. She's in the bag and she's got something over her eyelids, and she is, and if you pause the frame, there are organs in jars. There's all sorts of, there's some bad shit going down. And so she becomes a casualty. And in that way, in the same way that Marilyn becomes a casualty. And so they both, I would say that Wendy does change. Now, here's the thing, based on what you just said and based on what I was saying, who else actually doesn't change? I said give into the darkness, but who else doesn't change? Fucking Ava. Ava doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
Ava was always that person from the very fucking beginning and doesn't reveal her true nature until the very end. And it's the moment when she sees her hair fall out that she goes, her hair falls out. And that's what sets the entire ending into order. She goes, I have to get out of here, which is something. She's with Sam because Sam is safe, and that's her cover. And so now her hair is falling out and her fight or flight kicks in. And so she too remains unchanged, but she tricks us.
But she manages to stay under the radar for so much time. Right? Like she manages to keep herself bundled up, to not reveal too much about herself. And then you're right, as soon as she and that scene with the hair, it reminded me of something. Did you see Roger Avery Killing Zoe? Did you see that?
I've never seen Killing Zoe, man. It's on my shame list.
Now I don't know if I want to say this part because I want to.
No, do not. I leave it. Let it be a surprise. I don't want to know.
Okay.
I don't want to know.
Well,
I don't want to know.
So her hair's falling out, and it's not as bad as Josh and Bobby are going through. But it's clear. I mean, there's no other. She's radiation poisoned, right?
They're all like, that's the
they're
thing,
all
is that they're all fucked from the beginning. Which, go back to what you were saying before. You told me you wanted to dwell on. I think we're at the end here, by the way. We've really dug deep into this movie. Let's talk about what you mentioned, and then let's do some housekeeping about any random things, and we could wrap it up. You mentioned what would have happened if they managed to not kill each other, like what their ultimate prospects would have been in the situation. You said something along those lines. For clarify that for me. What were you talking about exactly?
I was thinking in I don't know. I was thinking mostly about Delvin, right? Like he's I think had the wherewithal to kind of keep everybody kind of together, and we had Mickey when he gets caught with the secret stash. He says that he was rationing the food out because he didn't want everybody to blow through it, right?
Right.
And in that heat of that moment, when you're faced with this deception, it's easy to believe that he's lying about that. But like you said, that this guy is more prepared for a long haul than anybody else down here in this basement. He might have been 100% sincere. It's one of those things we're never going to know, right? He turned out not to have been lying about the secret gun when he told Ava to go look for that. So I don't know. We have some evidence that maybe he was doing okay. He just,
that's what I mean. He was no, but you said no. What you were saying before, what I thought you were saying was, like, you were talking about, like, had they managed to not like destroy each other, like what ultimately would have become of them being in that situation. And we ultimately find out in the fact that their hair's falling out. They're slowly being poisoned anyway. They're slowly, you know what it is? They're probably breathing it in just in very trace amounts, which is allowing them to, go for a long period of time. But they're also probably vitamin deficient. They're getting no vitamin D. They're down in that basement. The water's probably dirty.
They're doomed. Like
they're doomed. Yeah, they're all doomed.
And that's the thing that I was thinking about at the end. I like your take about how the blasted hellscape that Eva finds when she escapes is her reward for having sold everybody out. She's like a dark.
She's a cockroach, man. She acts like a cockroach. She swims through shit.
Yeah.
She comes up out of the sewer, and this is what she has to inherit. And that's the end of the movie.
And what I was thinking at the time, like, that's a better take. That's a more, I like that take a lot better. But what I was thinking about at the end is that, great, she's out. She's going to be dead. Like, she's going to die. She's sick. Once your hair starts falling out, I mean, you have radiation sickness.
Well, it doesn't mean, I don't know how, well, being up on the surface probably
isn't going to help.
Accelerates it. The truth of the matter is they probably all each had, 5 years. It's just like, did you see Chernobyl?
No, I did not.
Okay. I don't want to say
I have HBO
Chernobyl. Now. Dude, you have to watch Chernobyl. It's fucking phenomenal. But that's why they take the girl. They take the girl and they inject the girl because the girl is the only one with a chance of survival. The rest of them are fucking doomed. And that's why they don't go. That's why they take only the girl. They're taking the children. They're rescuing the children. That's part of their clandestine operation. Although, again, this last time that's what my wife mentioned when she said, "Oh, they're injecting banana." She seemed to understand exactly what was happening in that situation, which I loved. I love that they just didn't explain it. I just love that they just kept that. They just were like, they just left it open like that.
Yeah, there's just this whole other fascinating movie taking place outside the basement that is a very different genre from the movie taking place inside the basement. And I'm not saying that we got the worst movie. I'm not saying that at all. I think we got a movie very worth watching, but I'm also very curious to peek into an alternate reality and see the movie that follows what happens outside. Like what
dude, honestly, I want that. I want a fucking prequel of.
Yeah.
You want to know what's amazing? First of all, have you ever seen the movie Miracle Mile?
No, no, I'm thinking Moonlight Mile. No, I haven't seen that one.
Okay, you abso-fucking-lutely. I can't even say what I'm about to say next because I don't want to spoil Miracle Mile. Let me put it this way. I saw Miracle Mile and I was drinking a seltzer, but it was a can. And I finished the seltzer can. I've only seen it once. I saw it at my local Alamo. And as I'm watching the last 40 minutes, I start squeezing the can. I don't even realize that I'm squeezing the can because what's happening on the screen is so unbelievably like intense to me. There's only one other movie that really brutalized me like that in that way. Threads, like these, you know, it's funny. These are the movies that terrify me. It's not, none of the horror shit bothers me. Nothing. It's nuclear movies that scare the shit out of me, truly. Threads scared the crap out of me. We talked about Megan. I said Megan is Missing scares me too, but that's basically on real shit. But there's a movie called These Final Hours. It's Australian. I don't know if you heard about it. It's basically, this is the setup. Ready? A comet strikes North America. In 12 hours, it creates something that's called I forget. It's called like an inferno wave, a fire wave, and basically the idea is that it's possible for comets to get so hot, a comet so big and so hot that it can ignite. It's the same thing that scared nuclear scientists. Nobody knew when they detonated the first bomb. They were unsure if the fireball
oxygen
would be so big. Yeah, that it would ignite the atmosphere, causing the atmosphere to burn. And that's what happens in this movie. It creates a wall of fire that is slowly making its way to Australia in 12 hours. And so people are it's basically about people in their last 12 hours of life. They know they're going to die. There's no escaping this fucking fire wave. And it is absolutely, to me, it's one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen because they're doomed. It is doomed. And there's suicide parties. People are just like hanging out poolside and randomly spinning revolvers and blowing their brains out. Like literally their last minutes on the planet just fucking off because they know they're all going to die. It's so terrifying. And so this movie, The Divide, I'm not going to say which one because I don't want to spoil it for you, but this movie actually acts as a sequel. The movie that I'm thinking of could be a prequel to The Divide, with The Divide beginning with the ending of that other movie. And I want to see, similarly to that, I want to see the prequel to The Divide. I want to see a movie that ends with those fucking buildings, with Ava's, you see the missile going through her eye and exploding. And you see these people running for their lives, doomed, utterly doomed to die in moments. And she's trying to help the old lady, and Sam's like, she's dead, leave her. It is so it's so insane. And that these people who would then like basically die together over a long period of time, strangers on a fucking staircase, like unknowing that like Marilyn's up here and Bobby's down here, unknowing that Bobby would take Marilyn as his sex slave. Like, it's so crazy to think that these connections and relationships, or whatever lack thereof you would call them, like that they start off as strangers in a stairwell. Harrowing.
Yeah.
Harrowing. So do you have any housekeeping items?
There were two things I wanted to say about Bobby.
Go ahead.
First of all, I mentioned being most fascinated by him, and I feel like all we've talked about in regards to him is how awful he gets, and I don't want people to think I'm just some kind of monster or something like that. But also, you asked me why I thought he pointed that gun at Josh at the end.
Right. Yes. I wanted to talk about that. That was the last thing that's something that needs to be discussed. Go ahead. I
think my answer to those two questions are related to each other. I'm thinking about, I think Bobby I don't think he started with zero humanity. I don't think he started this movie as a sociopath. I'm not saying he was a great dude. I'm not saying he was a humanitarian.
No, I don't think he was a sociopath either. I 100% agree with that.
I think he was this perfect, just once in a lifetime perfect stew of toxicity that came together. You know, like first of all, he's got a lot of ass showing with Josh, right, in front of the other people. They got to be the hard, you know, the manly punk guys, right? Then he's the one who steps up to chop up one of the bodies, right? He's the first one to chop up a body, and I think that might have been a big step for him. Then he's got Marilyn reaching out to him for affection and human contact, and he doesn't have, I think, the kind of emotional toolbox to do that, you know. And I think he's got some self-hatred. He tries to reject her, but she comes on harder to him, and that's when he decides to kind of start abusing her. Anyway, we get toward the end where the scene where Josh shaves Bobby's head is just a static shot on Bobby's face. Bobby looking dead into the camera.
Oh yeah, that was a one-take wonder.
Man, that was grim right there. And he's like, I think at that moment, he's kind of, that's one of two, maybe three moments where he's aware of what it is he's lost at this point, right? And that's why he kind of breaks down. And it's one of those turns what the movie did earlier, like with Sam, where you thought Sam was going to turn into a badass later. This scene with Bobby crying makes you think Bobby's going to turn into swing back and do a face turn and come back and be okay at the end, and it doesn't happen. But the other moment where I think that awareness comes back to him is that moment in the hallway with the gun. He's got the gun. He's pointing it at Sam. He's pointing it at Eva. And I think just for a brief glimmer, he remembers what
he's more than just being Josh's id.
Right. And that's why he turns the gun over to Josh.
Because if he can destroy Josh, he can free himself.
He can maybe, yeah. They're just locked in this. They're like those, I don't know whether it's bullshit, but, you know, from Silence of the Lambs, Lecter tells Clarice that there's a breed of hawk.
Fish.
No, I was thinking about the hawks that mate while they're falling, and if
okay,
and like if they're not the right pair, they'll smash in the ground before they finish mating, right? Am I making this up? Did it come from one of the books?
No, it might have. Actually, you know, funny thing, I actually just put Silence of the Lambs in my queue.
Okay.
It has been maybe 15 or even 20 years since I've seen it.
Yeah.
And I specifically want to rewatch it because I really want to rewatch Hannibal, which I haven't seen in forever, which I really love too, as well, the sequel. So because I love Mason Verger is so fucking great in it. I don't remember that monologue though. Unfortunately, I'm just like striking out between Fargo and
it's fine. It's fine. This might have come from the book. I don't even remember, but there's like a hawk, right? And if they're a good match, they finish mating, like they dive straight down while they're mating. And if they're a good match, they break up. Or they finish and they break up, but if they're not a good match, they take too long and they end up smashing against the ground. I think that's kind of a metaphor for maybe a sloppy one, not a very.
I think that's pretty cool. I like that.
Josh and Bobby.
Maybe like Bobby has like a moment of clarity where he realizes that this is just going to end in death, and the only or that this is madness, and that the only way to stop it is to kill Josh at this point, because Josh is the source of this. And then when Josh takes the bullet to the chest, it's almost like Josh, you know what it's like? Josh takes a bullet to the chest and he realizes that he's not bulletproof.
Right.
He's not fucking bulletproof. And when he realizes that he's not bulletproof, he destroys himself because his ego is too damaged.
Yeah.
His id is dead. His super ego is dead. And all that remains is the ego. And the ego cannot survive without the ecosystem. And so therefore he destroys himself in order to in order to make sense of anything. And it's like, and then all that's left are the people, well, what does that say too about the fact that Sam and Mickey are left? All that remain. I think
that's interesting. I think Mickey
and Sam kills Adrian.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Because Adrian is into Ava and Ava back, and that's interesting too. What does that say? Sam gets the gun. right?
Sam ends up with the gun. Yeah. He goes and he gets the gun, which I was so mad at Ava for sending him to get the gun, but
But you know what's interesting? Oh right. Oh yeah, that whole thing. Well, that plays into her. That plays into her, dynamic as a person. She has probably turned tricks, and so she's leaning into that survival skill, because that's what turning tricks for a junkie is. It's a survival skill.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was gonna say. I think the difference.
Yeah.
I think Mickey made it to the end based on his, and I'm not saying his raft of his structure of principle is admirable, but he has a structure of principle, and that's what brings him to the end. But what gets,
that's why he doesn't give in. That's what they meant by he doesn't have darkness. He doesn't take on the darkness.
But what he lacks that Ava has, and the reason she gets out of the basement and Mickey doesn't, is that she is willing to do literally anything to survive.
She's willing to leave them behind, and he's not willing to leave Sam behind.
Right.
So that's why. And the gun that's in Mickey. So Mickey is he's another representation of masculine energy, good or bad. He's a representation of that. He tells Sam, who desperately does he tell Sam? No, he tells Ava. He tells Ava that he tells Ava about the gun. The gun is a representation of masculine power. Ava says to Sam, go get the gun, go get the masculine power and use it to destroy the other males. And so Sam goes on a quest, to do so, and ultimately fails his test. He doesn't kill either one of them, and instead kills
Agent. Yeah,
because this is all character. Fucking character.
And it's especially painful what Sam ends up doing, because like you said earlier, Bobby, who by this point in a very I don't know, what is there anything at this point in the movie that you could say is more disrespectful than anything else? But anyway, Bobby is wearing Marilyn's dress, her slip.
Oh my god, yeah, that was so crazy. That was nuts.
So Sam goes to Bobby to try to get the gun, and Bobby aggressively, sexually, what's the word I'm looking for?
He accosts him in a sexual way.
He accosts him very sexually.
He's fucking with him, but he's fucking with him too. He's like, he's not sure if Sam will be into it or not. He's like, it's almost like he's slightly afraid because he doesn't want to be rejected, but at the same time, and then he plays it off with, I'm just fucking with him. He wasn't really fucking with him. He wanted that to go down.
And I wonder whether, if Bobby hadn't done that, because then afterwards, Bobby takes him into the back room, and that's when Sam grabs the gun, right? If Bobby had not done that, if Bobby had not taken just one more moment to emasculate Sam, whether Sam would have done what he was supposed to do with the gun. But I think there's like a weird inversion going on with Sam, where because he is such a capitulator, the fact that he just got one more smack, one more.
Well, he kicks Bobby in the balls, which is an interesting thing too. He goes for his balls. He kicks him in the balls.
Yeah. He
has the gun.
I don't know. I just wonder whether it would have been whether he would have, if he hadn't been made to feel less than manly one more time, maybe he wouldn't have seen Adrian as such a threat. And then when he had the moment to shoot one person, he wouldn't have picked Adrian.
Was Ava? I'm trying to remember. Was Ava yelling for Sam to shoot somebody? Right? Wasn't she?
She was saying she was telling him to keep the gun on.
Oh, right.
She's like, and Bobby and Josh are both accosting Sam. Sam's in the hall. Everybody's in the hallway. Everybody's at this corner in the hallway.
They're beating the shit out of Sam.
And
no. They're not beating the shit out of Sam.
Not Sam.
Sam shoots Adrian, and then they beat the shit out of him because he killed Adrian, and then she slits his throat.
Yes. Yeah.
With the tin of beans. What is that?
Oh man, yeah. There's so much.
That mean? That means something too. I don't know what it means. We're gonna think of it later after we get off.
Yeah.
This was, I have to say, this was absolutely it was the movie is so much more meaningful once you dissect it and really get down, I mean, this is a phenomenal movie. It is really it's like a really interesting movie. If you can stomach some of the stuff that's in it,
some of the French extreme stuff.
Yeah, it's a fascinating movie, and it's a sad movie, and it's a tragic movie. I really feel like if you're a director who wants to like direct like actors, you must watch this movie and I feel like if you're an actor, you should watch this movie because this movie is just all about like ushering a character arc from a starting place to an ending place, and almost doing it in a very organic way. And I don't know. I just do you have any closing thoughts about like this movie or anything?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely grim. But yeah, I think there's like I think it's almost fractal. I think we could keep picking it apart, and I think we could find meaning in everything, you know, like that.
You got to find out about those beans.
Yeah, the last thing is like the sustenance. She ends Bobby's life with the thing that was supposed to keep them alive. There's got to be something in there, right? There's got to be something.
That might work. What about the fires? The fire mean anything? That he explodes the lantern? Obviously he's shrouded in flames, but what does the fire represent?
I don't know. My first inclination is to think about how Mickey, the guy who provided them solace and safety down here in the basement, was a veteran firefighter
who ultimately succumbed to fire in the bottom of a building, just like 9/11. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy shit, man. All right, man. I think we can land this plane right.
Put a nice bow on it. Yeah. Yeah. Now, no, this is fun, man.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. By the way, so guys, check out Steve. Where can people find your like films? And Steve is also the festival director for the Sick and Wrong festival down in Florida, where all the movies are sick and wrong. And so check them out. Check them out on Facebook. You guys are doing some online stuff as of recent, trying to adapt with the times, right?
Yeah. Because of 2020 being such a garbage fire, the festival is actually going to be online this year. We're setting it up so that like you'll have a whole solid week to watch the movies that are on your own schedule. So from July 6th to July 12th, they're on demand whenever you want to watch them. If you get to pass, you get to watch all the movies when you want. We also have over 20 live streaming events like Q&As and a table read of the nominated scripts. There's a lot of stuff lined up. It's going to be a very busy week for me.
Dude, it sounds crazy. I just hope you you should document. You should make sure you record everything and put it on your Sick and Wrong YouTube channel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There and stuff. And lastly, Steve has a podcast called The Hold Up with Steve and Stull. And I was on there. We did Meet the Feebles, and I'm going to return for the Dark Backward, which I'm very excited to revisit. You know, it's funny. I was sort of waiting for a Blu-ray release, and Bill Paxton passed, and that movie is so special to me. It's such a special fucking movie.
So can't wait to talk about it. I can't wait. The movie.
Oh, we'll go. You know what's funny though? And here's what's interesting. I wonder if there will be as much to say about it as there is a movie like The Divide, because The Divide is like got all this like symbolism and stuff. The Dark Backward is just weird and like very matter of fact. So is it going to be like, are we going to talk for like 30 minutes and it's just going to be like, yeah, and he had a hand growing out of his back. Like, there's no symbolism behind a hand growing out of your back. It just, even Adam Rifkin was like, yeah, I thought a hand should grow out of his back. Like, I don't know. We'll see.
I watched quick side note. I don't want to talk about The Dark Backward too much because I want to save it. But zip up. I watched recently at your and Bob Rose's suggestion. I watched Giuseppe Makes a Movie, and
so good.
Then at the end of it, I was like, wait, Adam Rifkin. Garbanzo. Yeah, that's the same dude who made. That's the same dude who made Dark Backward.
Yeah.
It's the same director between. Anyway,
and Giuseppe Andrews was in Detroit Rock City, which was also directed by Adam Rifkin, which is how they met each other.
I didn't know that, man.
He plays Lex, the bass player.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't know that Adam Rifkin directed Detroit Rock City.
Oh yeah, that is one of my all-time. I'm not a Kiss fan, but that is one of my all-time favorite movies. Like
Yeah.
that is like I love that movie so fucking much.
I read that it was like, I don't know. I know this is totally off. I read that they shot like a whole second movie during that one just because like it was so cheap and they were moving so fast through Detroit Rock City.
What?
I might be completely wrong about that, but I read that they shot like a whole other movie with the same cast, just because like I don't know, they were moving fast or something through their takes.
So you're saying they didn't make a second similar Detroit Rock City film, they made a completely separate movie with the same people during that time. I got to seek this out. That sounds like something Adam Rifkin would do. I have to seek this out. But listen, all right, I'm going to put a pin in it there. We will be in touch, sir. We will reconvene at some point. You reach out to me or do we just start watching The Dark Backward? Like, what's the deal?
No, we got to do the pre-talk. Right.
All right. So look, as of recent, I am rather unemployed at the moment, so I will leave. You let me know when you want to do that talk, and we'll do it. And yeah, okay.
Awesome, man.
All right, man.
Well, thanks a lot for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Hey. Oh, this was great. We'll have to do it again sometime when I think of another movie to watch. All right.
You can. I'm on the list. I'm in.
All right, man. All right. Have a good night. Peace and hair grease.
Thanks, Jeff.